Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into the world of Larry Ellison.
Larry Ellison.
Yeah, the co-founder of Oracle.
Right.
And, you might be thinking, another tech billionaire, what's so special about him?
Yeah.
But trust me, this is not your ordinary success story.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy who went from college dropout twice to leading a tech empire worth over $300 billion.
Yeah, I think what's so fascinating about Ellison is that he embodies this almost like Shakespearean level of ambition and drive,
Right.
He's been called arrogant, he's been called ruthless, he's been called a genius.
Yeah.
But the one thing everyone agrees on is that he built Oracle into a powerhouse. And he did it often by going against conventional wisdom.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah.
How did Ellison turn this tiny startup with a $2,000 investment into one of the biggest software companies in the world?
Yeah.
What were the pivotal decisions? The risky bets and the, shall we say, unconventional tactics that got him to the top?
Well, I think to understand Ellison, you really have to go back to his beginnings,
Okay.
I mean, born in New York, raised in Chicago, he had this restless energy from a young age.
Yeah.
Dropping out of college not once, but twice.
Oh.
Shows you he wasn't afraid to chart his own course.
Yeah. Definitely a little bit of a rebel, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And it was in California during those early days of Silicon Valley that he really found his calling.
Yeah.
He taught himself coding, a skill that would, of course, become his ticket to success.
Right.
In 1977, he co-founded Software Development Laboratories, or SDL, with two partners.
Right.
And here's the kicker. Their initial investment was just $2,000.
I know. It's mind-boggling to think that such a small seed would blossom into what became Oracle.
Yeah.
Their big break came when they landed a contract with the CIA.
Oh, wow.
To build a database management system.
So database management system, for those of us who aren't tech wizards, what does that even mean?
So think of it as like a sophisticated way to organize and access information.
Oh.
Back then, this was cutting-edge technology.
Wow.
And SDL, soon to be renamed Oracle, was at the forefront.
And that name Oracle, it's pretty fitting, isn't it?
It is.
Like they could see the future of data and information.
There's definitely a sense of destiny there.
Yeah.
Now, Oracle experienced explosive growth in the late 1980s, riding that wave of the tech boom.
Right.
But then things took a dramatic turn.
Yeah.
In 1990, they faced a near collapse.
This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
So Oracle was using what's called aggressive accounting practices.
Right.
Basically booking future sales as current revenue. It made their numbers look great in the short term.
Right.
But it also created this ticking time bomb.
It did.
And that bomb exploded in 1990.
Yeah.
Leading to massive losses, layoffs, and a plummeting stock price.
A lot of industry insiders thought Oracle was finished.
Really?
But Ellison, he's not someone who backs down easily.
He's a fighter, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So how did he pull Oracle back from the brink?
So Ellison made some tough decisions.
Okay.
He restructured the company, refocused on innovation, and crucially, he recognized the emerging power of the internet. While others were still clinging to those old models, Ellison saw the future, and he positioned Oracle to capitalize on it.
Talk about vision.
Yeah.
And that vision paid off big time in the 2000s. Oracle went on an acquisition spree.
They did.
Buying up competitors like PeopleSoft Sun Microsystems and NetSuite.
And these weren't just random purchases.
Right.
Each acquisition was strategic.
Okay.
Strengthening Oracle's position in different sectors of the software market.
Oh, wow.
It was like watching a chess grandmaster at work.
So with each move, Oracle grew larger, more powerful day. They provide software for a staggering 45% of Fortune 100 companies.
That's right.
That's almost half.
Almost half.
Of the biggest corporations in the world.
It's a testament to Ellison's relentless drive and his ability to adapt to a rapidly changing tech landscape.
Right.
He famously said, "It's not enough to win, everyone else must lose."
Wow.
Pretty cutthroat philosophy.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Wouldn't you say?
Definitely, but you can't argue with the results.
Nope.
And that brings us to the man himself.
Okay.
We've talked about his business acumen.
Right.
But what about Larry Ellison, the person he's known for his, well, let's call it a colorful personality?
Oh, absolutely. He's larger than life.
Yeah.
A risk taker who seems to relish pushing boundaries,
Uh-huh.
both in business and in his personal life.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy owns an entire Hawaiian island, Lanai.
Wow.
And he's poured millions into America's Cup yacht racing. Talk about extravagant.
And he's not exactly known for being humble or understated.
Right.
Remember those billboards he put up near Salesforce events?
The ones that simply said Larry wins?
Yeah.
Classic Ellison, bold, provocative,
Yeah.
and a not-so-subtle jab at his rivals.
He's like a master of psychological warfare.
Yep.
Using these tactics to unsettle his competitors and keep everyone guessing what he'll do next.
That's right.
So is it all just for show?
Yeah.
Or is there a deeper strategy behind these seemingly outrageous moves?
That's a good question.
And how did those strategies shape Oracle's journey to dominance?
Yeah.
That's what we'll delve into next.
All right.
So we're talking about a guy who buys islands races, yachts, and puts up billboards just to declare victory.
Right.
It's easy to dismiss it all as billionaire eccentricity.
Yeah.
But I think there's a method to the madness.
I agree. I think, take the PeopleSoft acquisition, for example.
Okay.
Back in the early 2000s, PeopleSoft was a major player in the enterprise software market.
Right.
Ellison launched this incredibly hostile takeover bid.
Oh, wow.
It was a gamble, a huge risk, but he was convinced it would solidify Oracle's dominance.
And it wasn't just a financial risk.
Oh.
It was a PR nightmare.
Right.
PeopleSoft fought back hard,
Right.
accusing Oracle of everything from predatory practices to jeopardizing customer stability.
Mm-hmm.
It was a high-stakes battle played out on the front pages of business newspapers.
And that's where I think Ellison's personality really comes into play.
Yeah.
He thrives on this kind of conflict.
Right.
He's a master negotiator, a brilliant strategist,
Right.
but he also knows how to use the media to control the narrative.
He's a showman, too.
Oh, yeah.
I read that during the PeopleSoft battle, he even wore a bulletproof vest to a shareholder meeting,
Really?
claiming he feared for his safety because of threats from PeopleSoft employees.
Wow.
Whether that was true or just a publicity stunt, it definitely grabbed headlines.
Oh, for sure.
And in the end, Ellison got what he wanted. Oracle acquired PeopleSoft and cemented its position as the leading enterprise software provider.
Yeah, they did.
The bold move that paid off.
It did.
But it also raises questions about his ethics, right?
Sure.
I mean, was it a fair fight? Did he cross a line?
That's a debate that continues to this day. Some argue that Ellison's aggressive tactics were necessary
Okay.
in such a cutthroat industry. Others say that he bullied his way to the top, crushing competition and stifling innovation.
It's interesting, though, because for all his talk about winning and crushing the competition,
Right.
Oracle's success is also built on innovation.
It is.
They've consistently invested heavily in research and development, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with database technology.
Absolutely. Ellison recognized early on that technology is constantly evolving.
Right.
And to stay ahead, you have to be willing to disrupt yourself, to embrace new ideas, even if they challenge your existing business.
And that's a lesson that applies to any industry, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're a tech giant or a small startup,
I think so.
you can't afford to stand still.
Yep.
The world is changing faster than ever.
Yeah.
And the only way to survive is to adapt, innovate, and maybe even be a little bit ruthless.
Yeah, speaking of adaptation, Oracle's move to the cloud was another pivotal moment.
Okay.
In the late 2000s, cloud computing was still seen as kind of a risky proposition by a lot of companies.
I remember back then, a lot of people were skeptical about putting their data in the cloud.
Yeah.
It seemed insecure, unreliable.
Right. And yet Ellison saw the potential. He knew that cloud computing would fundamentally change the way businesses operate.
Right.
So Oracle invested heavily in building out their cloud infrastructure, competing head-to-head with companies like Amazon and Microsoft.
And once again, that gamble paid off today. Oracle's cloud business is a major revenue driver.
It is.
And they're considered one of the leading cloud providers in the world.
That's right.
It's amazing to see how this company that started with database software has evolved and transformed over the years.
It speaks to Ellison's ability to not just predict, but to shape the future of technology.
Yeah.
He's always looking for the next big thing, the next disruption.
Right.
And he's willing to make bold bets to get there.
But it's not all about technology, is it?
Right.
Ellison is a fascinating character.
He is.
A complex individual with a lot of contradictions. On the one hand, he's this ruthless businessman driven by competition and conquest.
Right.
On the other hand, he's a philanthropist, donating millions to causes like medical research and education.
I think that duality is part of what makes him so intriguing.
Yeah.
He's not easily categorized.
Right.
He's a force of nature.
Yeah.
Someone who operates by his own rules. And while we might not agree with all of his methods, There's no denying his impact on the world.
And that brings us to the question of legacy.
Okay.
What will Larry Ellison leave behind?
Well, on a practical level, he's built one of the most successful software companies in the world,
Uh-huh.
a company that employs hundreds of thousands of people
Right.
and touches the lives of millions more through its products and services.
But beyond the business,
Yeah.
what about his impact on Silicon Valley, on the culture of innovation?
I think Ellison embodies a certain spirit,
Okay.
a willingness to push boundaries, to challenge conventions, to take risks that others wouldn't dare. He's a reminder that sometimes to achieve greatness, you have to be a little bit crazy, a little bit audacious, maybe even a little bit ruthless.
And as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Larry Ellison,
Hmm.
I'm curious, what do you think?
Yeah.
Is he a hero, a villain, or something in between?
That's a question for each listener to answer for themselves, but one thing is for sure.
Okay.
Larry Ellison's story is a testament to the power of ambition, the allure of innovation, and the enduring appeal of the maverick who dares to defy the odds.
It's interesting because you mentioned that duality, the philanthropist alongside the ruthless businessman.
Right.
It makes you wonder, can you really separate those two sides of Larry Ellison?
Yeah.
Is it possible to achieve that level of success without making some tough, maybe even questionable decisions along the way?
It's a question that goes beyond just Larry Ellison.
Yeah.
It's a question about the nature of ambition, the cost of success,
Right.
and the compromises we sometimes make in pursuit of our goals.
And in the world of tech, where the pace of innovation is so rapid, the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
Those questions become even more complex, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. We're talking about an industry that's reshaping our world,
Right.
changing the way we live, work, communicate, even think.
Right.
And with that power comes a tremendous responsibility.
We've seen examples of that power being misused, haven't we?
Have.
Data breaches, privacy violations, algorithms that amplify bias.
Uh-huh.
Makes you wonder, is the relentless pursuit of innovation always a good thing?
That's where I think Ellison's story offers a valuable lesson,
Okay.
even a cautionary tale. He's a brilliant innovator, a visionary who saw the potential of technology before many others.
Right.
But he's also someone who's been willing to bend the rules to push ethical boundaries in order to achieve his goals.
And that raises the question, what kind of legacy do we want to leave behind?
Yeah.
Is it enough to simply be successful, to win at all costs?
Right.
Or do we have a responsibility to consider the broader impact of our actions, the ethical implications of our innovations?
It's a question that each of us has to grapple with. Not just tech leaders,
Right.
but anyone who's striving to make a difference in the world.
Because ultimately, it's not just about the technology itself, is it?
No, it's not.
It's about how we use it, the choices we make,
Right.
and the values that guide those choices.
Exactly. And those values will shape the future of technology, the future of our world.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Larry Ellison, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
Ellison famously said, when you innovate, you've got to be prepared for everyone to tell you you're nuts.
And that's a powerful message.
Yeah.
It takes courage to challenge the status quo, to push boundaries, to go against the grain.
But it also takes wisdom, doesn't it?
It does.
The wisdom to know when to push, when to compromise, and most importantly, to always consider the consequences of our actions.
Because true innovation isn't just about being first. It's about creating something that benefits humanity, that makes the world a better place.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the life and legacy of Larry Ellison. We hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking, and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep striving to make your own